Andrea Vocab Sanderson, San Antonio Poet Laureate 2020 through 2023. I am a San Antonio native and I'm 39 years old, and I love my city. I love the fact that the city was built around missions, built around people that are indigenous and beautiful, and our culture so rich. And I love to celebrate the culture as much as I can and incorporate it into my work, celebrating, thinking about the past 300 years plus of the legacy of family and spirituality that this city contains. I feel like so much of that is embodied in who I am and in the work that I try to put out. I love to overlap disciplines of singing and theatrical performance and spoken word, and also hip hop into my work, because I think it really is attention grabbing. I've always been passionate about trying to reach young people, and a lot of young people definitely connect to that rhythm and that meter and the hip hop flow and the cadence of words. The poems that I said today, they come from my book, She Lives in Music, because music is such a center and focal point in my life. My dad was a DJ, is a DJ still, and I grew up in a house full of milk crates of albums. And you know, when we were younger, I remember going out to the park. My dad would just open up his trunk and cut on his music and just bass out his music really loud through the parks, and you know, getting to see the scenery and walk us along the park river and just kind of be outside in nature. That was some of my fondest memories growing up here in San Antonio. I spoke to the river. I had so much to say. I talked to the river. She answered me in waves. I once asked the water, do you recognize me? My whole body a river, frame that flows and ripples deep within, coursing to currents of beauty, liquid hearth, gurgling with inseparable droplets, always inviting, my entire habitat encompassing, salted or fresh, full and rushing with life, never dammed or receding, and certainly never stagnant. My movement, a fluid feminine rhythm, trickling or hasty through valleys and mountains. I wind. I am no pond, yet at times I resemble an ocean. I once asked the water, do you recognize me? I sat still, waited for an answer. All I saw was my reflection in the flux and waves, in the flux and waves. Ooh, I spoke to the river. I had so much to say, and I talked to the river. She answered me in waves. So some of the things that I have been really focusing on lately is this idea of elevation. We can continue to view the world from just like this base level, Turanian viewing, where we can see our problems and there's not a lot of foresight for the future. But if we just go up a little higher, we can have a view of the bigger picture concerning life, no matter all of the hardships and challenges that we're facing. I just, take moments to reflect and ground, and so that's where pieces like, Ask the River come in, this idea of reflection. And then from that place of reflection, I move into a posture of lifting up and upholding community and just trying to be a pillar for people, because there's so much things that'll make you feel shaky, make you feel like you're not on solid ground, but we can love each other and get our place to a place where we're lifted up and we feel secure in where we are if we just put that love in. She arose from raw earth, the color of dirt left over. Rotating sphere on her shoulder, she's been carrying this third rock boulder, reclaiming mass, getting older, yet remaining unclassified and marginalized, trying to justify the legitimacy of her craft, like an epigone uttering under an overpass in a state of repose. She is spouting golden-tinted prose in the shadows, upsizing truth from lies. She's quoting poets and philosophers of the past, maturity personified in her overcast skies. Even so, those glittering pools are still luminous bright. She takes big bites of palatable light, recites and regurgitates. Recites and regurgitates. She has quantified wisdom beneath the guise of charisma and charm and colloquialisms wrapped in wit. Despite the prize that she is, oftentimes she is cast aside and disregarded simply because most cannot handle it. Their bellies poisoned with propaganda. She holds the anecdote in her sweet, sticky stanzas. Each light, lickable lyric that leaps from her tongue leaves their egos undone, leaves their privilege in the spillage of her tongue. They are livid from how she pillages through their ignorance with just one proverb. She has come from this xylem of assemblies to massacre them with her innate abilities, originating from epics of lore. All of her glory can never be accounted for. The ancestors just keep rising in her bones. God's fire is what's shut up in her bones. Her mystique is somewhere between Renaissance and Love Jones. She is imitated, underappreciated, appropriated, but never truly owned. They cannot hone, they cannot harness, they can only hope to clone. But she has some fly chromosomes, y'all. They are sacred, and the sacrifice it took to comprise her genetic code can never be duplicated. She, in and of herself, is one of a kind in a class of her own. She stands alone, holding up her portion of raw earth. She is 1,000,000 times worth more than can ever be accounted for. And as long as she lives, she will always have more left over to give, because she manifests in abundance. She manifests in abundance. Yeah, abundance, y'all. She manifests in abundance.
You can view this video and other virtual series on our Facebook page or our website at spcculturepark.com. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.